employees of the U.S. Air Force. They're not in the military, yet they take the same oath. They don't wear the uniform, but they stand shoulder to shoulder with those who do. They're patriotic, hard-working Americans. They are the everyday heroes of Air Force civilian service. Forces joined.
Hello, and welcome to Aim Higher, episode 42, Living the Life, Aiming Higher. I'm Sheryl Johnson, Marketing and Brand Management Specialist, and tonight we're in good company. We're joined by two outstanding AFCS employees from the Air Force Personnel Center, people who know firsthand what it means to build a career with a purpose. Tonight's guests have firsthand experience navigating career growth, overcoming challenges, and taking advantage of the unique opportunities that come with working for the world's most powerful Air Force. Whether you're a student exploring career options, a professional considering a transition, or someone looking to take your career to the next level, this conversation is for you. At Air Force Civilian Service, we're so much more than just paychecks and promotions. We offer careers that challenge you to grow, innovate, and contribute to the nation's security every day. So get ready to be inspired, to learn, and to see why AFCS is the place where you can truly live the life you've been aiming for. Let's get started. Before I introduce our guest, let's take a moment to get to know you, our audience, with the first poll for tonight. Poll number one: what's the most important factor in your ideal career? A, job stability and security. B, opportunities for career growth and advancement. C, work-life balance and flexibility. And D, competitive salary and benefits. Okay, audience, I'll give you a few seconds to respond. All right, I think we've got some answers. So 35% of you answered opportunities for career growth and advancement. So career growth and advancement are crucial, and Air Force Civilian Service is designed to help you reach your full potential. With structured development programs, mentorship opportunities, and clear pathways for progression, AFCS provides the tools you need to keep moving forward. Thank you, audience, for your feedback. With that, now let's take a moment to meet our guest from the Air Force Personnel Center. Ed, why don't you get us started?
Hello, Sheryl, and hello to the audience that's out there this evening. It is a pleasure to be here with you, and it's also a privilege. As Sheryl said, my name is Ed Bujan, and I am the Chief of the Strategic Outreach and Recruiting, also known as SOAR, and also Marketing. In my role, Sheryl, I oversee an incredible team, which one of them is right on here with us today, which is Crystal, and I also have Miss Maddie, who's going to be helping out with the questions. These are a group of folks that are so dedicated to supporting 19 career field teams across our organization. Again, as you know, we work hand in hand with you and with your fellow folks with talent acquisition professionals to ensure that we're driving innovative and effective recruiting strategies. Whether it's developing outreach initiatives, refining our messaging, or aligning the efforts that attract the best talent. And just by listening or reading some of the comments, I could tell already that we have a great audience for tonight. My team is deeply committed to making a positive impact on our mission. And the mission right now of the Department of the Air Force is huge. It's a collaborative effort, and I'm proud to lead a group that's so passionate about what they do and also what we could do. And as you stay with us later throughout this presentation, you'll see all that, how it comes together. So Sheryl, thank you.
All right, Ed, thank you. Crystal, what about you?
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. So my name is Crystal Garza. I'm the Program Manager for Strategic Outreach and Recruiting. My role involves ensuring that the Strategic Outreach and Recruiting program runs smoothly and effectively. So we focus on recruiting for programs like Premier College Intern Program, also known as PSIP, and Palace Acquire, and Copper Cap, also known as PAC and COP. So these programs are designed to bring top talent into our workforce. I work closely with our campus liaison and sustainment program manager to support these efforts, while also collaborating, like Mr. Bujan said, with 19 career field teams to provide training, guidance, and marketing support to them all. It's a dynamic role that allows me to bridge the gap between our recruiting initiatives and the career field teams we serve, helping to drive the success of our overall mission.
Well, thank you, Crystal. So tell me, Ed, what inspired you to pursue a career with the Air Force Civilian Service?
Cheryl, for me, it all started as a kid from the Bronx. And I saw that a good friend there, Elvis Machado, is from the Bronx. So that was interesting to see that. That's kind of where I started my active duty career. I was a recruiter, started recruiting there. I wanted to go back to the city where I kind of grew up and try to help and attract the talent that was there and bring them into the Air Force. I worked my way through and became a superintendent of a recruiting squadron, kind of retired from the Air Force and said, you know what, I am not going to work for the government, I'll be honest with you. And uh, there was something about it that I was missing, and I realized that it was the passion to do exactly what I'm doing right now. So that retirement to coming back as an Air Force civilian didn't last long. I came back, I transitioned to the civilian side. I began recruiting on the STEM side, recruiting scientists and engineers for the science and engineer career field team. Did that for about 10 years. Woke up one day and said, you know what, I want to be a supervisor because as your poll said, growth and development is something big for us. And again, I'm going to pick on Crystal here for a second, but folks like her inspired me to be a supervisor because there's so much talent, and I wanted to help folks like her, Miss Maddie, who's on here with us today, and so many people grow and develop. What's my motivation. It's a passion that I have for the job that I do. It's an impact that I try to do every day, serving on the civilian side. It's a little bit easier for me because I've seen both sides. And also because I believe that the Department of the Air Force has a very important mission.
I like that. Ed, I can always tell that you can tell when people are passionate about their job, and I can truly tell that you're very passionate about what you do. So, same question for you, Crystal.
Yes, ma'am. So I was not prior military like Mr. Bujan, but my husband recently retired from the military. So I spent many years as a military spouse, 22 to be exact. So I was looking for a career that I could build and grow while I was following him wherever the military took us. So that's pretty much how I got into the civilian sector, because I knew there were always opportunities on base for civilians. Even after he retired, I continued my career as a GS employee. And what I love most about this path is the incredible room for development. Like Mr. Bujan said, he's there. He's one of those individuals to help us grow. I started my career as a GS4, so that's very, very entry level within these positions. And then later on, I heard about the Palace Acquire program, so the PAC program, and that's a developmental program that helped me achieve everything I aspire to be as a civilian. It has been very fulfilling journey, and I am proud of how far I've come, and for people like Mr. Bujan who are there to support us and help us grow.
Well, thank you, Crystal. That's been a great journey for you, I'm sure. So that's awesome. So, all right, here's the next question for both of you. What key achievements in your AFCS careers are you most proud of and why? Ed, let's start with you.
Um, Cheryl, when we talked about this, I kind of sat here for a second and thought about, what would that be? You get the promotions, you get the recognitions, and on the active duty side, you get the medals, you get the awards. But honestly, I have to tell you that about after 18 years on the civilian side, I kind of look back, and for me, it's not so much about those things I just mentioned to you, but for me, it's more about the incredible talent that I have had a huge role in attracting to Air Force civilian service. Hiring students who were freshmen and sophomore. Back in 2006 when I started doing this on the civilian side, and seeing where they are today. And again, it's interesting that I saw right off the back a young person from the Bronx And then I saw Rosa from Mount Holly, New Jersey. I used to recruit in Mount Holly, New Jersey. So it shows you how small everything is. So for me, is watching their growth, watching their development, progression into leadership roles, and hearing from them 10, 12 years later saying, hey, Mr. Bujan, I don't know if you remember me, but I was that student that barely had the right GPA, but you stood by me, you believed in me, and today, I'm leading a group of cybersecurity folks. So I'm leading a group of engineers and scientists in aerospace at, in Edwards Air Force Base in California. So I'm at a point in my career, in my life, that for me, that's my fulfillment and what I consider to be an important part of what I do.
That's really inspiring, Ed, because seeing when you mentor someone and seeing their growth, where they are now, that's got to be a great feeling, knowing that they've come so far because of your mentorship, right? So that's truly inspiring. So, Crystal, I'd like to hear your perspective as well. What key achievements in your AFCS career are you most proud of, and what makes them stand out to you?
So my biggest highlight for me is being able to make an impact regardless of whatever base we've been at. So every base has a little bit of a different mission, but no matter what office I was assigned to or what base I was at, I was always part of a team. Everything that I said mattered, and everything I contributed was meaningful. I knew that I was supporting a bigger mission, and that mission was the Air Force. So everywhere I've gone, it has been very meaningful to me, and I can take something away from every location and those individuals that I met. I do miss those people. I miss those missions, but it has helped me grow and allowed me to become who I am today.
But isn't it great that you get to meet people at different places that you go to? This is always great, being part of that. So, but I want to stick with you for a moment, Crystal. Can you think of a specific instance in your career where you felt your work made a significant impact on the mission, and the moment where you knew you were making a real difference?
Yes, Cheryl. So for me, the most memorable moment was during my time at Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska. And that's when COVID first hit. So I was working at the Military and Family Readiness Center, also known as MNFRC. And everything really changed overnight. One Friday, we were told to go home, and we didn't return for a while. So everything we'd been doing in person to support military members and their families was completely redesigned, and we had to do everything virtually. So for me, that was one of the most impactful experiences, just figuring out how to continue to support all those military members and their families so that we could focus on the mission and allow them to succeed in their mission. So the Military Family Readiness Center and us who worked at the center, we became the backbone of their success, and the base success, whether it was helping them with their finances, assisting their spouses, responding to any needs that any first sergeants may have had or commanders so that they could ensure everything was running effectively. But despite any of these challenges, we kept everything running smoothly. And we were also recognized with an award for the impact that we made on the base. So that time for me really stands out because when the whole world seemed to shut down, we were the ones who were relied upon more than ever. And we were able to deliver. So for me, that is the most impactful thing that I've done so far.
That's so great to hear, Crystal, because you guys became the backbone of that organization, right? And it took a team. It took a team effort to make that organization keep running like that. And it's amazing how impactful your work was during that challenging time. So, Ed, I'd like to ask you a similar question. Is there a moment or an achievement in your career where you felt you made a significant impact on the mission? Something that really stands out to you as a proud accomplishment.
Let's see, Cheryl, how much time do we have? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You know what, Cheryl? There are many moments for me, but if I had to pick one that really stands out the most, it would have to be the evolution of how we attract talent for the Air Force. And the reason I say that is for many years, we always had one program which has been around for about 40 years. And again, Crystal is one of the products of that program. It's the Palace Acquire program. while these were great, the students we brought in often didn't have the first-hand experience of life on an Air Force base. Contrary to Crystal, she's married to military. She got to see all that and experience all that very early. So a large percentage had never been near or in an actual Air Force base. Then came the creation of the Premier College Intern Program. So now we're going to get into what really Crystal, myself, and Miss Maddie, who's helping with the Q&A, are a huge part of. So the Premier College Intern Program, also known as PCEP, was spearheaded and founded by Dr. Heather Wilson. Dr. Heather Wilson was our former Secretary of the Air Force. I don't know if we have anybody on here from UTEP, but she is now the president of the University of Texas in El Paso. And that came from her. The program gave us the ability to bring in about 500 interns each year for a 10 to 12 week internship, allowing them to test drive the Department of the Air Force. Now, think about this for a second, and the audience that's here. You've always heard of industry. Many of you have gone to career fairs, which is what our specialty is when we go out recruiting at colleges and universities. You always hear industry partners saying about internships. They came to us and were like, whoa, we only have this program. That now has changed. And I think that's one of the key highlights of my career, because it has allowed us to show these young professionals what the Air Force is all about before they make a long-term commitment. Since the program inception, we brought in countless individuals who have helped sustain and advance our mission. And you've heard Crystal. We talked about 19 career field teams. That's a lot. That's something that I wasn't even aware of when I was active duty. While I wasn't the founder of the PISA program, I'm proud to support and champion the program that has made such a nationwide impact all over. It's an incredible tool for building the future of the Air Force. It is something that I am very proud of.
So Ed, you've got to be so proud knowing that this program, PCEP, has grown so much and the impact that it's had on the students that you all recruited. So thank you for that. Crystal, what about you?
So for me, it'd have to be the Palace Acquire program, since I was a participant of that program. I don't think I would have had the same opportunities in the private sector. So when I was in the PAC program, I was given a structured training plan, and it lasted for 2 to 3 years. I was assigned mentors, and those mentors were there to guide me and support me every step of the way. I had great supervisors that ensured that I was successful regardless of what I was doing. But I was a PAC during my time at the Military and Family Readiness Center, like I mentioned, at Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska. And that's where I got to learn firsthand, how we support the mission. So that training plan was deliberately designed to develop me into an Air Force civilian service leader. And it is something that has helped shape my career ever since. I still stay in touch with all of my mentors who helped me early on, and their guidance has been invaluable in my growth. And I hope that some of them are on here today listening in. But the opportunities I've had for developmental through the program has been incredible. I've attended different trainings at different locations, and that has been really rewarding because I've gotten to go places I wouldn't have gone on my own. So even now in my current role, I get to go TDY. So that's considered like little work trips. And we go to these TDYs, we go to different universities and colleges to recruit. And I get to talk to individuals about joining the same program that helped me grow both personally and professionally. So I love the PAC program because it's allowed me to give back. I know the program has a profound impact on my life. And now I get to speak with students all over the world, and I get to see their bright futures ahead of them. So for me, that makes my job very meaningful.
Well, thank you for that, Crystal. So for our audience who may not know what TDY is, can you kind of briefly explain what that is?
Yeah, so it's temporary duty. I'm not sure what the Y stands for. I apologize, but it's like a little work trip. So even though I'm here in San Antonio, Texas, I might go to TDY in Offutt, Nebraska. So I'm going to work over there for a short amount of time to fulfill a purpose that would be recruiting, maybe at University in Nebraska, Omaha, and then I would come back. So it's considered a short trip.
Which we like because we get to see different places, right?
Yes.
And get to try different food, especially if you're a foodie. So, because
Yeah.
I know I am. So, thank you, Crystal. So, something that really stands out is that both of you highlighted AFCS internship program as pivotal highlights of your careers. Ed, could you share more details about what makes this program so impactful?
Yeah, hey, absolutely, Cheryl. The Pazzo Choir, or the PAC, short, and again for the audience that's here, you heard Crystal say TDY. We use acronyms. We live on acronyms. So just letting you know that that's one of the things about that. And it might be a test at the end of this and see how many of these acronyms you might know. But no, on a serious note, I mentioned earlier how the PAC program has been around for about 40 years. It's a career developmental program where you apply during your senior year of college, kind of like what Crystal did, explained it very well. But PAC is designed to help you grow your career progression every year, starting at a certain pay grade and advancing as you develop. The cool thing about it is mentor. She mentioned a mentor. There's a training plan that goes with that. So we don't move you to the next grade unless we meaning your supervisor, that you have met all the requirements in that area. So again, looking at it, it's a long-term developmental program. Then comes the Premier College Intern Program, also known as the PSEP. Again, program was created with different goal in mind. It was about bringing in students for a 10 to 12-week internship. Students apply during the sophomore or junior year. You could either do 1 year or you could do 2 years, but it gives them an opportunity to really see what life is on an Air Force base. For folks like myself and the audience that's here, it's a pipeline feeder. So go ahead and just think for a second. Here you are a senior in college right now, due to graduate in the summer of here in a few months, but you were a PSEP last summer in 24 and did an internship. This whole senior year that you're in right now, you're stress free because you know that when you graduate, you're going to have a job, you're going to have a job, and then in the process of these months, you're going to be in communication with your mentor, you're going to be in communication with your supervisor. I mean, you could even show them, hey, these are the courses I'm about to take. Do you think these are courses are appropriate? Because it's going to help me grow and develop when I come and join you. When I come and become that mechanical engineer, when I become that financial manager, whatever it is, it's what it is. So the key is that once you graduate, you already have a pathway that's going to lead you to the Pilots Acquire or the Copper Cap program. It's essentially a pipeline program, like I mentioned earlier. To put it simply, PSEP is like a try before you buy. But we as supervisors also are taking in consideration everything that you're doing. We're watching, but we're helping you because we understand this could be your first internship. So the difference is that PSEP is a short-term introduction to Air Force civilian service, while PAC is where your full-time government career officially begins. So I hope that helps out, Cheryl.
No, really, thanks for breaking that down, Ed. It's so clear that AFCS has built a strong pathways for these students and early career professionals to gain real world experience and seamlessly transition into long term careers, as you mentioned. So these programs don't just open doors, they set people up for success from day one. Speaking of career journeys, Crystal, I'd love to hear your perspective. How has working for the Air Force Civilian Service challenged you or surprised you in positive ways?
Yeah. So I've been an Air Force civilian for about 16 years now. And like I mentioned earlier, I've had opportunities to go to other agencies. I try to get recruited, but I always choose not to. There's a simple reason. It's because of the culture at Air Force Civilian Service. So the people I work with, supervisors like Mr. Bujan, our division chief, everyone on the team, they genuinely care for the people that they're supervising or that they work with. So it's like a family culture, not just a team and not just a place to go and get a paycheck. But even though the workload can be heavy at times, there's a lot of positivity and support from everyone, which makes a huge difference. because we want everyone to succeed. So we're always there encouraging each other, asking, hey, is there something I can help you with? So the environment is a really great one. Personally, I love the work-life balance. That is the biggest factor for me. I don't want to go anywhere else because I truly am happy where I am in this position. I've also been amazed by the developmental opportunities and training. People are always looking out for you. Like I said, your supervisors want to see you grow. You have mentors there to help you. And everyone wants you to grow and develop, especially if that's what you want to do. So they're there to support you every step of the way. And then the culture, like I mentioned, it has been a pleasant surprise. It's very positive and uplifting. Everyone has each other's back. When new people join after me, like Maddie is a little bit new. She's been on the team for about a year. But I try to offer them the same support that I had and the same care that I received. And so it's so refreshing to be part of a team that truly values you as a person compared to the private sector where I have seen friends and colleagues treated as a number or just a quota. Different from Air Force civilian service. So the focus here is finding ways to help people succeed. And that has been the most positive and rewarding thing for me in my experience here.
Thank you, Crystal. You mentioned work-life balance and culture. I think those two factors are so important because we work, but we also want to make sure that our life at home is balanced, right? And the culture that you want to come into work and you want to come into work and happy along with your teammates, right? So I like that. So Ed, let me ask you the same question. How has working for Air Force Civilian Service challenged you or surprised you in a positive way?
I want to start backwards. I'm surprised every day. Every day I show up to work, I'm surprised because you come in with a mindset, this is what I'm going to do today, but it never happens. And that's what's so cool about us is that there's a saying that goes, flexibility is the key to air power, and that is so true. I'll be honest, Sheryl, one of the things that has really stood out to me is how we have elevated. And I keep talking about the branding of Air Force civilian service, um, but it's so true how we have evolved, elevated that branding over the many years. And I could speak about that because I've been doing this for 18 years on the civilian side. So again, we started as a very small organization, and it was very difficult. When we went out to different colleges across the nation, we went out to universities. You and I could speak to this because I wore the uniform. Students, maybe some like in the audience, will see Air Force and they right away think military. And I struggle with that because there is another side of the Air Force, and that's the civilian side. That's the side we don't see in commercials. But those military folks, those pilots, those folks that are doing the mission up front, man, it's hard for them to do that if they don't have a good civilian alongside of them. Fast forward to today. Simple. We transformed into what I call a premier organization to work for. Crystal mentioned it. You talked about work-life balance, and I hate to keep picking on her, but here's someone that actually from the first day I saw her brief, I knew that she will bring a lot to my team. But I have the utmost respect because she knows how to do the job, how to balance her life, and also her work, and none of that fails with her. So again, that's something that we are very proud of when we bring folks into Air Force civilian service. Working with the talented teams and partners, Mark Carm, yourself, folks that are putting this together today, a lot of effort goes into that. It's also something that has been big for Air Force civilian service. So now here we are attracting talent from across the country where I'll be honest with you, Sheryl, I would put myself along any industry partners. I would put myself against the Googles, the Microsoft, the Amazons, because what we have is right up there with them. And in some cases, actually, even better. And I don't want to brag, but it's one of the biggest things that I feel that has changed how we see Air Force civilian service and the positions that we have available for the audience and the talent that's here with us today.
Well, thank you for that, Ed. So before I ask the next question, we have a question from the audience, and either one of you can answer this question. The question is, what are the highest demanding work fields to enter?
So I'll start and then Mr. Bujan can piggyback. So when we're recruiting for the PSET, Premier College Intern Program, Palace Acquire COP program, we are, so the STEM, anything with STEM, so science, engineers, science, technology, engineer, mathematics, those for us, for Air Force Civilian Service would be some of the degrees or majors that we're looking for. Mr. Bujan, you want to touch some more on
Yeah,
that?
no, absolutely. Hey, Crystal, right on, right on. STEM. One of the things that we have not mentioned is that out of those 500 Premier College interns that Crystal, myself, and my team recruit, 75% of those have to be STEM. So for the person that asked the question, yes, STEM. Cyber is big for us right now. Cyberspace and information technology that is led by a gentleman named TJ Cassidy. Does a great job attracting the talent for that field. Electrical engineers, electronics engineers, aerospace engineers, even our good friends in the civil engineering side of the house are also big. So those are the kind of, if you were to ask me, each one is important, but mission impacting right now are those. We have to compete. We have to make it the Department of the Air Force that is able to stay up to par in technology.
Okay, well, thank you, Crystal, and thank you, Ed. So I have a question, a follow-on question for you, Crystal. I know we talked about culture, work-life balance, but could you elaborate more, and how do we compare Air Force Civilian Service compared to other organizations? What makes us unique, and what does the culture look like?
Okay, so the work culture at Air Force Civilian Service is really special. Like I mentioned, to me, it's one of the key aspects of that work-life balance. I have a family, so for me, that's very important. And like Mr. Bujan mentioned earlier, we have a lot of benefits. So we have federal holidays that are paid and we get them off. We sometimes have family days where we can take leave. So a lot of private industries still work on these holidays, and on the opposite end, we get that time to recharge and spend with our family or go hiking, just doing the things that we want to do, so that we are recharged when we come back to work. So family days, let's say there's a holiday on a Monday, the Friday before we might get a family day, and that's so that the base can kind of go and spend time with your family. So like I said, it really encourages that work-life balance. And as long as you're coordinating with your supervisors, they're always there to support you. So if you're going through something, they're going to support you and see how they can support that family aspect of it, not just always work. So the culture really is built around the sense of support. We often work alongside military members, and in my experience, it's given me a clear perspective on how civilians contribute to the overall mission. So the pride in knowing we're supporting the mission as a whole is something unique to Air Force Civilian Service. For me, the work-life balance is invaluable. Like I said, I have a family, a husband, two boys, and I've been able to manage both my personal life and my career because I've had great supervisors and colleagues who encourage me and support that balance. It's good to know, when our supervisors are taking leave, a week off, and they go wherever on vacation, that we can do the same because we need to step away and recharge. So it's a culture that truly values its people and their well-being.
I like that. I like that. Family matters. Families first, right? So, but do you get to enjoy some of the recreational activities as a active duty members on the base? Is that something that you participate in?
Yep. So we definitely have the opportunity to do so. For example, the military members might have what's called like squadron PT, like physical fitness time, where they do physical training exercises. They might go to the base gym and do weightlifting, whatever it might be, a game of dodgeball. You never know. But we are encouraged to join them whenever we want to. There are There are other events on base that are held by larger units that include military members and civilians. So we're always encouraged to participate to build that camaraderie among the military members and the civilians. It's a great way for us to get to know them and for them to understand how we support them. As civilians, we provide a lot of continuity for them when they go TDY. Like I mentioned earlier, they go on those work trips, or when they deploy and they're gone for 6 to 9 months. So we're that continuity when they're gone. So yes, we absolutely have many opportunities to participate in physical fitness with them and any other activities they might have going on. But it really builds and strengthens our connection with the mission, with them, and just working alongside together, it helps.
I like that. That's great to hear, Crystal. So, Ed, how would you describe the culture and environment at Air Force Civilian Service?
Hey Cheryl, the culture and environment, no matter where, are key to anyone's success. That's just the bottom line. You could tell the difference between people who are just doing the job and those who are passionate about it because they see how it impacts the mission. And that's one of the cool things about us. We leave the building, 5:30, the national anthem plays. You stand there, you have to show respect for the flag. And then shortly after that, a jet just comes and buses right over your head. And you know that somehow, somewhere, you made an impact in that, and that's what's pretty cool. Contrary to Crystal, I was a workaholic. I felt a kid from the Bronx. I felt like I had to prove myself all the time. So I did sacrifice a lot. I did sacrifice my son's baseball. I did sacrifice a lot of things. But like anything else in life, you get a second opportunity at a lot of things. So when I was offered the position to come and work for the civilian side, first I said no. But then my friend of mine said, "Hey, come on, just check it out." And then I found out that the truth was that they needed to hire somebody so that he could leave. So I got kind of tricked into it, but I did, and I came and I never looked back. But here is where I think I felt such a impact in the culture. I worked when I was with the science and engineering career field team. I had a lot of young engineers with young kids. Made me realize you need to get to those things. You need to go because the job is going to be here tomorrow. The paperwork on your desk is not going anywhere. It's going to be there, But I learned that through progression, through good mentors, through good supervisors that had a best interest in me, not only in my growth and in my development, but also in the work-life balance. So, I mean, you know, there's a lot of companies that work on production. It's all about production, production, production. Let's say what comes off the line. We have a mission. There's certain things we have to get those jets off the ground, but we got the right people. Like I said earlier, I tasked Crystal with a bunch of stuff. I tasked Maddie with a bunch of stuff. They never sacrificed that work-life balance culture because of the job, but they still get the job done. So that in itself doesn't happen overnight. It happens with good mentors. It happens with good supervisors. It happens with people like myself who have experienced that part and realize I missed out on a lot, but doesn't mean that my teammates or my friends like Sheryl have to miss out on things like that. People assume, and I was pretty intrigued by the first poll that you made, but people assume that it's all about the money, but it's not. This new generation, the folks that 200 that aren't here with us today, focus on family. They're focused on career progression. They're also focused on sustainability. When Crystal and I go out and Maddie go out recruiting, we talk to folks. They're planners. They're thinking already long term. 3, 4, 3, 5, 15 years down the road. Where is it that I want to be? And that's, I think, Sheryl, is what makes Air Force Civilian Service so special, is that we offer exactly what they're looking for.
So, what I'm hearing is that you realize work-life balance, you got smarter on it as you got older. So, I like that analogy, Ed. That sounds great, though. But let me
They say
follow up.
maturity comes with age. So
Exactly.
yeah.
You got smarter.
I
So
did.
let me follow up with this question. Can you share examples of collaboration or teamwork that highlight the environment at the Air Force Civilian Service?
One good culture, collaboration. I'm actually glad that you brought up and asked about collaboration. One example that stands out to me is our work with you. Our work with talent acquisition. Um, we have two separate missions. You guys focus on the more on the journeyman. Crystal and I, Maddie, the SOAR team, focus more on entry level. But together and with such a great company like Marcom, we're able to really collaborate. A specific example, that comes to mind is a program called Taking the Pentagon to the People. Just imagine if we were to bring an audience like this, to the Pentagon. Impossible to do. So we decided to take the leadership, the talent, the folks from the Pentagon to different universities, so they could hear, about things that we're talking about right now. The cool thing about it is that a lot of these schools that we went to, with the program went to, we had Premier College intern program students who have been part of the program. So having them there in collaboration with us and the university partners really, really kind of elaborates how we go about doing what we do. Kind of collaboration extends far beyond our daily work. It's about forming meaningful partnerships with universities and with influencers. Maddie, who's behind the scenes answering questions, is our campus liaison. And man, 125, 130 career fairs that we attend nationwide, looking for the brightest talent to come and work for Air Force Civilian Service. And now we're at a point right now that not only do we collaborate with these schools, but the partnership has grown so much, Sheryl, that they're actually reaching out to us, saying, "Hey, come out because X, Y, and Z, who did an internship with you guys last summer, man, came talking about all the things that they got to see, the things they got to blow up, the stuff they got to touch and smell. It's just amazing." So yes, collaboration, not only as you work, but for the students that are here with us today, man, you need to be collaborating with your fellow students, with your fellow professors, your influencers. So it's really big. It extends beyond what we do.
I love that. That's so fantastic, Ed. It's good to see that the program has grown so much and people are reaching out to y'all. Crystal, how about you? Do you have examples of collaboration or teamwork that you'd like to share?
Yes, ma'am. So collaboration is a huge part of what we do. We always emphasize the power of different points of view, especially fresh ideas and innovative thinking. Everyone's input is encouraged and valued. Like I talk about at every base I went to, my perspective was always valued because that's how we continue to improve our processes and make things better. So when we get these Premier College interns, Palace Acquires, or Copper Caps, we love having them because it's a fresh perspective. I mentioned that we work closely with 19 career field teams that we support, and we'll often ask, how can we improve a process for you? Is there anything we can do to support you better? And by improving how we support them, we're able to better support bases across the nation. And this type of collaboration and teamwork helps us stay competitive with industry while ensuring we're constantly evolving and improving. And like Mr. Bujan mentioned, branding plays a big role. We can't improve unless we challenge each other and ask those tough questions. So that's why we encourage our interns and new hires and everyone else really to share their opinions and ideas. This generation is so smart and tech savvy. I often ask Maddie, like, hey, show me how to do this. And I'm not even that much older than her, but still, they've learned so much and they often have quicker, more efficient ways of doing things. And by encouraging that collaboration and communication, we're not only improving processes, but like I said, we're staying innovative and competitive. And on top of that, we collaborate with other teams across Air Force Civilian Service and even with Space Force. Our team works with different universities and colleges all over the nation where we spread a lot of information about Air Force civilian service. And now we're at the point where people are hearing about us and they're requesting info sessions, or they're requesting that we go and visit their university to tell them what we do.
I love that. Collaboration and teamwork, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
So that's a great transition to our next topic, advice for prospective candidates. Crystal, let me start with you. What advice would you give to someone considering a career with the Air Force Civilian Service, especially those looking at programs like Palace Acquire?
So since I was a PAC, I often think like, what do I wish somebody would have told me when I was learning? So I would say be willing to learn, be open, be comfortable with change because change is always going to happen. And when you're comfortable with the idea of change, it makes everything okay because change is inevitable. And it makes it easier to adapt and grow if you know that there will be change coming. But oftentimes, change makes things better. Just like I was talking about, getting fresh perspectives, that's often to make things better. So, change can be very good. If processes, people, and programs staying the same, then there wouldn't be any growth. Like Mr. Bujan, he would still be working all the time and he wouldn't have that work-life balance. So, but my advice to those interested in joining Air Force civilian service is to ask questions, embrace learning, be open to positive change because that mindset is going to help you grow. Don't take things personally, but think of how you can improve things as an organization. If someone gives you feedback, take it as constructive feedback.
I love that. Great advice, Crystal. So having a growth mindset, right? That'll
Yes.
go far. So Ed, what would you say to someone considering a career with the Air Force Civilian Service, whether they're a student just starting out or a professional thinking about a career and changing it?
I'm gonna piggyback off Crystal there for a second. So for those that are on here with us, here's your opportunity to write this down. For me, the number one thing I'll emphasize, Cheryl, is don't let fear of not being selected hold you back. So again, 500 positions. Crystal, I think we checked a few days ago how many leads we have there. Probably a little over 4,000 leads. We got 500 positions. So when we go out recruiting, people ask, number one, well, one of the number one question is, what are the chances of me really getting selected? I don't know. You have to apply. So that fear of saying, well, I'm not going to get selected. Well, you're not because you didn't apply. So again, you got to apply. You got to go ahead and believe in yourself. But attending seminars or webinars like us today, webcasts like us today, it's learning. Some people will tell us, well, my resume only speaks of my experience at Starbucks. Well, come on, elaborate more. There's a lot of people will also ask, do I need experience, to be part of that? No, because that's why you come into these internships. Again, an example is the Premier College Intern Program. Gives students 10 to 12 week a glimpse into life at an Air Force base. It's an incredible opportunity to see firsthand what it's like to work behind the scenes. I talked about earlier about a jet taking off. Who works, how many people go into that, but you only see the jet and you know that there's a pilot in there, but you can't see the many people that put a hand into making sure that that pilot, that jet took off, and that pilot came home safe to him or her family. So the other thing, real quick, is resume. When you're writing your resume, Crystal and I, and we do this a lot, is we only have very little amount of time to interact with you. But man, you gotta I gotta be able to know the story of who you are, what is it that you want, and where you want to be in those many years. And so tell us a story in that resume. Let us know what that's all about. And for those that are thinking about transitioning into Air Force civilian service, whether from another job or field, we see a lot of that. Our hiring events, just like the guys, the ones you host, Sheryl, I know you just got back from Utah. You did a big hiring event over there at Utah. So again, being paying attention to where these events are happening and making sure that you're there. And for anyone that's listening today, Take that step. Don't shortchange yourself. Learn more about Air Force civilian careers at airforceciviliancareers.com or afintern.com, and you're going to see the many opportunities. And I promise that you will not regret it. Cheryl?
That's fantastic advice, Ed. Taking the first step, right? Whether it's applying, crafting a strong resume, or just learning more about the opportunities that are available can make all the difference in shaping your career. I have a question from the audience, and either one of y'all can answer this before I go to our last poll for the evening. Question: how long does it take to be notified if you apply for programs for current students or recent graduates? Over to you, Ed or Crystal.
I'll let Crystal start.
So for the PSEP program, we actively recruit from the fall. So that might be from August to like late November. So that's where our heavy recruiting is, where we're going to universities and we are going on afintern.com and trying to see if there's candidates in there that are a match for a certain location with a certain degree. And then for the Palace Acquire program, the developmental program, we recruit for those positions year round. And with those positions, I think it's 1,000. Is that correct, Ed?
Yes.
1,000 positions. So for the PAT program, there's a lot more positions that we can hire for compared to the PSEP, where it's more competitive. There's only 500. So it just depends. I can't give you like an exact time frame, but for the PAT program, I can say we are constantly trying to hire individuals for those positions. And with the PSEP, it's a little bit more competitive. It depends a lot on us, like reviewing resumes, hiring managers, making selections, staffing partners, sending out offers to those individuals. So it can be a long process. And then I will let Ed follow on with that.
No, hey Crystal, you hit it right on. The Premier College Intern Program does has a window. Normally we start open the window in about late August, because that's the primary recruiting season, September through about early November. And then we kind of close that window, and then Crystal just emailed, I don't know how many thousand students expressing our gratitude for taking the time to apply. The Palace Acquire program and the Copper Cap program. Now, real quickly, the Copper Cap program has the same benefits as the Palace Acquire. It just focuses on the contracting career field team. That cycle is a year-round cycle. So you could continue to apply. It's all based on how many allocations we have for that specific month. So that's how kind of it works out. Gives you an opportunity. And Cheryl, I'm going to give you this back. But someone wrote about cover letter. Yeah, absolutely. It never hurts to put a cover letter if you can. Cheryl?
Yeah, no. So let's finish with that, Ed. So would you recommend we attach a cover letter to our resume? That's from the audience.
Okay, so absolutely. It it presents a better picture because your resume is limited. You have your objective. What is it you want to do? Then we go into we go into your college, your GPA, then work experience. The cover letter kind of tells us more of a story. Again, I'll pick on Crystal for a second, and I'll say, for example, hey, this is what I bring to the table, and what I bring to the table started many years ago when my husband raised his right hand and said, I solemnly swear and to defend. So yeah, the cover letter don't go 3 pages, but give us something that will tell a little bit more of what is it that you're looking at. So absolutely yes, it cannot hurt, Cheryl.
No, thank you for that. So audience, we're going to take our second and last poll of the evening. So take a moment to share your thoughts. It'll help us better understand what matters most to you as you consider your next career move. So last question. What type of career development opportunities interest you the most? A, hands-on experience and internships. B, leadership and mentorship programs. C, technical skill building and certifications. And D, career transition support for mid-career professionals. All right, audience, I'll give you a few seconds to answer that. Well, pretty kind of close, but most of you answered the last one. Career transition support for mid-career professionals with 41%. Very interesting. So what that means is whether you're coming from the private sector, the military, or another government agency, career transitions can be challenging. AFCS offers structured pathways and support to help you apply your skills in new and meaningful ways. Many professionals have found that transitioning to AFCS opens doors they've never expected, with stability, career progression, and purpose-driven work. So if you're looking for a fresh start with unlimited potential, you're in great company. Audience, thank you for your feedback. And we're going to have the last question to you, Ed and Crystal. So I'll give you a minute to answer this, right? What makes someone a great employee at Air Force Civilian Service? So we'll start with you, Ed, and we'll finish it
Okay.
off with Crystal.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know we're running out of time. This has just been an awesome dialogue today. But for right now, I will say success often depends on having the right skills that support the 19 career fields that we serve. Right now, STEM, as I mentioned earlier, is one of the disciplines that are huge for us. Cybersecurity is one also of the fastest growing areas for us. Soft skills, many people in the audience, and you also have heard about soft skills go hand in hand with those technical skills, but we're also looking for people with expertise in financial management, business, supply chain management. I mean, I never thought about some of these until I came over to the civilian side. One example is the Copper Cap program, which focuses exclusively on contracting. Like the SOAR program, like I said earlier, is a career development program that offers many opportunities. STEM remains one of the biggest focus. Again, engineering, aerospace, artificial intelligence, AI. I see a commercial from I think it's Apple. They have a phone now that does AI. I mean, it just didn't happen overnight. That includes everything from historians who preserve our legacy, cybersecurity experts who protect our future, and it's all part of the bigger picture. And every skill set, no matter what you do, plays a huge role in the success and the support of the mission.
All right. Thank you, Ed. All right, Crystal, 30 seconds. Same question.
So yes, I'd say hard skills are definitely important. Things like knowing how to use a computer, sending emails, having very strong customer service skills, because it's important to be welcoming, professional, and willing to assist others. Even if you're having a hard day, we are here, we're a helping agency, so we need to keep our best foot forward. But the most important skill, in my opinion, is being a team player and being open to feedback, like I mentioned earlier. So it's critical to take constructive feedback to improve yourself. And like I said, and use it to help you grow. It's not about you or that you've done something wrong, but you're contributing to that big purpose and the larger Air Force mission. So soft skills are also important, like effective communication, willingness to learn. But my advice is to be yourself, be open to growth and feedback, and know that it's going to make you a better version of yourself, and to continue to develop yourself both personally and professionally.
Thank you, Crystal. Ladies and gentlemen, and just like that, we are out of time. But wow, what a great conversation. Huge thanks to Ed and Crystal for not just telling us about leadership and mentorship, but for showing us what it looks like in person. What we heard tonight was about more than careers. It was about purpose. It was about making a difference, about finding a place where you're not just a name on a roster, but you are part of something bigger, a place where your work matters, your growth matters, and you matter. Before signing off, be sure to subscribe to our email alerts to be notified when registration opens for our next AIM hire. You can subscribe at afciviliancareers.com /subscribe. Until then, keep aiming higher, keep pushing forward, and we'll see you next time on Aim Higher. Thank you and good night, everyone.